1 year ago, I launched my first air filter kits, and since then, the design has come a long way. The 3rd generation Model B kit helps make DIY air filtration more stylish, easy, and accessible. You can choose between 4 different styles of fan: drum fans, box fans, wall fans, and inline fans. Each have their own benefits. I explain the important features and differences in my previous video on these kits. For this video, we will cover assembly of the frame and filters, which is the same for all versions. Then I'll show you how to install each type of fan. This may look like a long video, but the various parts are labeled in the timeline, and there are links in the description to jump to a time in the video that covers the specific thing you are interested in. For instance, if you want to watch basic assembly for a box fan kit, the video is only about 5 minutes long. You can also watch the whole video to learn more about all the options. Assembly for this kit is easier and faster than ever. At the very least, you will need a Phillips screwdriver for assembly. Every kit will have the same basic components: a top, bottom, 4 legs, and your choice of adjustable feet or wheels. The feet are the cheapest and lowest profile option. The standard 1-inch wheels also have a low profile. Premium 2-inch American-made wheels are the newest option in the kit. These are the best for pushing the kit around on rough, soft, or uneven surfaces. To assemble the frame, first find the bottom and put the sticker side up. The wheels can be screwed into the pre-drilled holes by hand or with a drill. Try not to over-torque these because the plastic can strip. The feet are simply threaded into the inserts. Here are the legs. This is what they look like when installed. Position the leg in between the foam strips. The foam should not be crushed by the plastic portion of the leg. The easiest way to start the first leg is with the bottom laying sticker side up on the table. Thread the screw through the hole and into the leg. Screw them together tightly. Place the frame in the horizontal position and screw on the second leg. Then install the top of the filter frame. Final step is to screw on the last 2 legs. This completes assembly of the filter frame. For larger frames, you may find it easier to do this process on the floor. The next step in assembly would actually be to install the fan, but because I am covering all the common aspects of this process first, we are going to quickly cover filter installation. Every version of the Model B is compatible with 1 and 2-inch thick filters, budget filters, and premium filters. I highly recommend 3M MERV 13 or 14 filters. They are by far the best that I have tested. Consumer Reports also ran a test of their own that determined the same thing. To install a filter, point the arrow on the side in the direction of airflow. If the fan is pointed upwards, the arrow will face the inside of the filter frame. Some fans can be mounted in the reverse direction, blowing down into the filters. In this case, the arrow will point outwards from the filter box. To put one in, plant the bottom of the filter into the foam on the bottom side of the unit. Press the filter down into the foam as you rotate the top into position. I designed these clips to hold the filters securely in place. There is a version for 1 and 2-inch thick filters. There are slots on the legs that the clips snap into. You can vary the amount of snap that you get by engaging more or less of the clip. The less you engage, the easier it will be to snap on. Then slide it into place. To remove it, just slide it off. Or if it's really stuck on there, you can pry it off with a piece of plastic. Then repeat the process for the rest of the filters. Two-inch thick filters are installed in the same way. Sometimes the filters can fit tightly. If that's the case, just lift up on the top of the frame and slide it in. You may also need to do this if the fan is fairly heavy. For the 25 and 30-inch tall models, there are 6 clips to install per filter. 4 at the corners and 2 in the center. Budget filters also work great with this design, as well as washable filters from K&N. That wraps up filter installation. Now we can install the fans. You can skip to the fan of your choice with the links below or the segments in the timeline. First up is the DIY standard box fan. The kit works with any 20-inch model from any brand. For improved dust sealing, a foam strip is now included. The foam can be installed all the way around the edge of the fan. The fan will simply rest in place without fully attaching it to the filter box. The second method of attachment uses heavy-duty Velcro strips. The first step is to stick the soft loop side of the Velcro to the center of each side on the back of the fan. Box fans should always face upwards so that air goes away from the filter box. Now you can cut the foam strip to length and apply them in between the Velcro. When you are done, mark the center of each strip with a pointed tool. At the mark, apply the rough hook side of the Velcro strip. Center the fan on the frame and squeeze the two together. This will hold the fan in place, but you should never carry the unit by the fan. This wraps up box fan installation. Now on to the most powerful option, the Caterpillar drum fan. One nice thing about this fan is that it can be used in any orientation. Either pointed up in what I call the pull configuration, or down in what I call the push configuration. There is a set of fan mounts for each option and two methods of attachment. First, center the fan on the foam strip. The easiest mounting method uses these 4 screws. The plastic is soft and you can easily drive the screw into it using a drill or a screwdriver. Mount one of these at each of the 4 corners. Then simply turn the thumb screw to remove the fan or access the controls. The pull mounts will not work in the push configuration. A more secure method of attachment uses screws and nuts. You will need a 3/16 drill bit, a drill, and a ratchet for installation. If you first mount the fan in the pull configuration, the hole locations should also work for the push method. The fan is slightly larger on the backside. Now you can remove the fan for transport or use it elsewhere. Feel free to leave the fan legs installed if you intend on doing this. It is a powerful fan and has plenty of uses. One last thing to install is the cord cover. If you are running the fan pointed down, you will install it as is. If the fan is pointed up, remove the cap, run the cord through the opening, leaving a few inches of slack in the line, insert the screw, and apply the wing nut to the underside. That's it for drum fan installation. Now we have the 12-inch Cloudlift from AC Infinity. This comes with a wireless remote. It's almost silent on low and isn't that loud on high. This fan can be operated in either direction because it has an enclosed motor. I would recommend covering the power cord inlet with tape and a zip tie if you plan to use the fan pointed downward in the push configuration. First step in assembly is to remove the wireless receiver and legs from the fan housing. It can be installed in 2 positions, on the outside or on the inside of the filter frame. A roll of foam will be included in the kit. You don't have to use it, but it will improve the seal around the fan. There are also 2 mounting methods. The first one I will show you is these hard mounts. You will need some clearance under the frame if you want to mount the fan on the inside. Insert the fan into the opening and adjust its position. The hard mounts are installed at each of the 6 fan ribs that you see here. There are no pre-drilled holes for these. The screws are self-tapping. You will have to apply vertical force to the screw while drilling it into the plastic. If you don't apply enough force, it will spin on the surface and strip the plastic. If this starts to happen, push down harder on the screw. When you are done, this is what the hard mount should look like. An alternate fan installation method is with these thumb screws. They only require a Phillips screwdriver to install. There will be no holes to screw them into, simply push down on the screw as you drive it into the plastic. Once tight, do not continue turning the screw or it may strip. You get that idea. Place one mount at each corner. You can also use a 3/16 drill bit to make a hole at the mounting location and attach these with a machine screw, a washer, and a lock nut. A ratchet or wrench will be needed for this option. These should be tight but easy to turn. This fan comes with a remote control and a USB receiver. The kit for this fan includes a mounting device that can be used on a desk or it can be attached to a surface. If the fan is pointed upwards in the pull configuration, the receiver can be placed on the inside of the filter frame. When using the push configuration, the receiver will need to be mounted in a location that stays relatively clean. Another option is to remove the receiver entirely and cover the USB plug. In this case, when you plug the fan in, it will run at full speed. There is a variety of switching options that you can use to control its on-off state and speed. If you intend on trying this out, I used some tape and a zip tie around the power cord inlet. It appears to be the only area which is not fully sealed. Back to the standard mount. Here's the holder and the receiver. Plug in the USB cable. Using one of the 3 screws, connect them through the hole in the receiver frame. The next 2 screws will mount the assembly to the bottom. There are no mounting holes, just push down as you turn the screw using a screwdriver or preferably a drill. Now remove the foam retaining ring from the cord cover, run the cord through the hole, and screw the wing nut onto the bottom side of the frame. The remote has 10 speeds. Press and hold the button to power the fan down. That covers installation of the 12-inch Cloudline fan from AC Infinity. Now we look at inline fan installation. There are several options. I will show you how to use a 12 and 8-inch budget inline fan as well as a high-quality 8-inch fan from AC Infinity that offers a few additional configurations. Any of these fans can be installed on a wall or ceiling. I have a video on how to run a ducted setup that shows you how this is done and the benefits of this type of system. For this, you will need a duct flange of an appropriate size for the top of the frame. The budget inline fans can also be placed on the top of the filter box. This is the easiest way to run a ducted setup. It also prevents vibrations from the fan entering the structure through the ceiling or wall that it would otherwise be mounted to. Either method of installation allows for enormous charcoal filters which will help reduce VOCs in your environment. This compact inline fan comes with a corded remote and can be used to make very small filters as well as this designed with a 10-pound canister of activated charcoal. The standard method of attachment requires you to remove the outside of the fan assembly using a screwdriver. We only need this compact, nice-looking part right here. It has a convenient edge that we can use for mounting purposes. Here is what the installed fan will look like. You will need to permanently bundle the cables out of the way with an included zip tie. If the cable was to get loose, it could be pulled into the fan. There is no grill on the back of the fan to prevent this from happening, and if it does happen, it would likely destroy the fan. The fan mounts will attach along the 4 sides of the frame, with the power box at a 45-degree angle to the sides. There will not be pre-drilled holes in the mounting location. Simply center the fan, apply the mount, and put 2 screws on the outside using downward force. Once the screw is tight, don't over-torque it. The hole in the center of the mount is for a number 8 screw if you want to add your own. The top of the frame is removed for this operation and replaced when the fan is installed. A cord cover allows the cord to pass through the top of the device. Remove the retaining ring and pull out the cap. I like to position the smaller cord for the remote deeper in the opening. Then drop in the screw and secure it with the wing nut. The filters will always install with the arrow pointing inwards. Inline fans are never pointed into the filter box. They are not designed to handle contact with large amounts of dust. Included in the kit is a small piece of Velcro for sticking the remote to a convenient surface. I prefer to place it on top of the fan. An alternate use for this particular fan is this compact VOC-eating carbon monster right here. This 8-inch charcoal canister from AC Infinity is the only option for this particular setup. The kit will include some foam tape for the bottom of this filter to flatten this part out right here. Be sure that this loop does not fold under the canister during installation. The plastic parts you see in the bottom here are taped down as the last step in assembly after everything is in the correct location. Until then, just center the canister on the bottom. To install the fan, you will need to remove the top of the frame. The 8-inch fan will not need to be disassembled for this particular build. Simply place it in the top of the canister with the mounting plate at a 45-degree angle to the edge of the frame. Place the top on and make sure that the edges of the fan slide smoothly into the opening on the top. You may need to reposition the charcoal canister for everything to align properly. The cord cover goes on and the last filter is installed. It can help to have 3 of the filters in place for this assembly process. Keep in mind that this unit is only stacked together and may need to be taken apart if you want to transport it. Never turn it on its side. For some installs, you may need to apply foam tape in certain locations. One of those options is where the fan simply rests in the opening. You will need a scissors for this process. Make sure that the end of the foam is square. Peel back the paper and start applying the strip. The paper backing can get torn, so proceed slowly. When you get to the junction, overlap the 2 ends by about 1/4 inch. Then squeeze the free side into the fixed side. This will prevent a gap from forming when the foam is under compression. Now just place the fan in the basin, and that's it. Feel free to watch the video on ducted air filtration next. This is a very efficient way of using inline fans. You can also watch the video that discusses all the features and applications of various Model B kits. There is also a Model B that attaches to the ceiling if you are into that kind of thing. There is a separate video that will cover that installation. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments or through Etsy or social media or wherever, Thanks for watching, everybody.